So the theme for today's talks is reaching for the stars, one star at a time. And indeed, the sessions that you're going to hear today are going to inspire you, challenge you to achieve success in your personal and your private life. I guess I'm going to raise the bar really, really high, because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you the secret to how you can rule the world. I'm going to tell you how you can achieve success in absolutely anything you choose to do. Anything you choose to do. Now, this is the TED Talk, and you're all very clever people, and you're all sitting there, I hope, quite skeptical. You're all thinking to yourselves, what is it that I can tell you that you haven't heard before? What is it that I can tell you that you've not heard in the various sort of people who have got books to sell, who said, if you eat a certain wonder food, you'll be able to achieve success? How am I different to all of them? Well, I can tell you, I don't have a book to sell, and quite frankly, you're free to eat anything you like. But what I do have that they don't have, is almost 10 years worth of research experience studying student success, studying the factors that make students successful in their programs of study. Now, you can relax. What I'm not going to do today is recite a decade's worth of research, because I think if I do that, you're all going to get bored and you're all going to leave, and that's going to be a crying shame, I think. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to synthesize, I'm going to summarize the take-home message. Because what I found is that every student who is successful, no matter what it is they do one of three things. So whatever your program of study, you will do one of three things to achieve success. Now, what we're going to find is that these things, they're not complex. They're simple, straightforward things. It's not rocket science, okay? But you can take these three things and you can apply them to anything that you choose to do for success. Okay, so what are these recommendations? What are these things that if you do, okay, you can achieve success? Well, the first recommendation, which I'm going to tell you today, okay, which will allow you global success, is listen to your family. Listen to your family. I told you, it was not going to be rocket science, okay? Simple, straightforward things, okay? Listen to your family. Now, when I say family, I don't mean listen to your mum or dad, although they are just as important. Listen to the collective group. Watch what they're doing, okay? Your family, your parents, your siblings, your children. Learn what they're doing, okay? Now, the power of family influence really is quite fundamental. But for many of us who are starting a program of study at university, or they're going into a new job, we want to use that opportunity to define our own personal identity. We want to separate ourselves from the family role, if you like, the family influence. Now, that's good. That's healthy, okay? But what I will say is that you can't really be motivated for a long period of time without some kind of familial support, without some kind of family intervention. Now, how do we know this? How do I know this? Well, to really sort of study the power of family influence in motivation, okay, we carried out a study. We carried out an investigation where we looked at, we interviewed students across various institutes across the UK. And we literally interviewed hundreds of individuals, hundreds of students. And we asked them a series of questions about why they wanted to actually go into education. And this slide up here is actually a snapshot of some of the data, some of the themes, okay, that have come from this particular study. Now, these data here, is all in response to one question out of all the many questions that we asked our participants. Why? Why do you want to go back to study? Why do you want to study? Now, they could have said anything. They could have come back and said, well, you know what? I actually want to go to study because of the interest. I want to study because, well, you know, it's exciting. I want to do something with my life, you know, for the money even. But they didn't. What they said was family. Most, if not all, of the actual people that we spoke to, where we asked them that single question, why do you want to return to study, they mentioned family. Now, this individual here as well, the last quote, actually used a very sad but very significant moment in his family life to reappraise his entire life situation. okay, his entire life situation. So this is just a snapshot of data. It's just a collection of some of the data from the massive data set that we've got. And I sort of brought it in just to illustrate the point. But family was one of the driving factors, one of those fundamental factors in getting students to engage with a particular program of study. But it wasn't just about starting the study. It wasn't just about starting their academic program. This individual here doesn't even have a family. He's actually using an imaginary family. He's actually saying, you know what? If I had children, the thoughts, the look on their little faces would be so disappointing, so sad. That's why I have to maintain and retain my engagement in my particular program of education. He doesn't even have a family, okay? Now, for many of you, this may seem quite surprising. Why is it in today's day and age where we surround ourselves with almost ubiquitous technology, would family still feature as a fundamental driver in helping us to motivate towards any kind of activity? Trust me, it was a surprise to us as well. We were just as surprised. But it seems that even though we surround ourselves with almost universal technology, the role of family influence is still a fundamental driver in helping you to engage and also to retain your engagement in a program of study. Okay, so I did say my recommendations today will be simple, will be straightforward, and that's recommendation number one. If you want success, if you want to achieve success in whatever you do, listen to your family. Okay, that's number one. And if you like that, you're going to like recommendation number two. Recommendation number two, to achieve success, involve your friends. Involve your friends. Now, I did say this wouldn't be rocket science, okay? I did say this wouldn't be complicated, simple, straightforward. Involve your friends. Believe it or not, though, the role of your friends is probably more significant in helping you to engage in a particular activity than your family, okay? But what is more interesting is the fact that you don't know. You're not aware of the fact that your friends are helping you to motivate, helping you to engage with a particular activity. You just don't know that they're there helping you to do that. So how do I know this? How do I know this? Well, to investigate the effects of the power of your friends in helping you to motivate towards a particular activity, we did something very, very clever indeed. Okay? What we did was we actually carried out a series of covert observations, naturalistic observations, where we asked people to report, if you like, tell us about the nature of their interactions with their friends. And we did that by programming people's smartphones. So we did it all remotely, and we sort of, over a period of time, your phone sort of went off, it made a beeping sound, and we asked people just to sort of like respond via SMS, text messaging. So nearly 200 participants had their phones going off at various points over a month, and we collected a significant amount of data, a large, large data set, okay? And it told us a lot of very, very interesting things about the role of friends in helping you to engage and motivate in a particular activity. The first thing we found, okay, was that if you take part in a lecture where there are limited opportunities for discussion in the lecture hall, you tend to meet with your friends more afterwards. Okay, that's exciting, but let's look a bit further. So when we interrogated the data just a bit further still, what we found was that these individuals who actually engaged with their friends after a particular lecture, okay, they also had more of an opportunity to reflect on their understanding of a particular lecture topic. And then when we interrogated the data even more, further still, what we found was that they were higher performing. Their grades were higher. So they were using their friendship groups, they were using their friends to reinforce their understanding, their learning about a particular topic. Now, that was mind-blowing, okay? When we found that out, we wanted to sort of really take it further. So we invited a snapshot of individuals in, and we carried out a series of focus groups, a series of interviews, to really get a feel for what was actually going on inside, their various social interactions. Now, here we found something that was mind-blowing. Here we found something that really will rock your world. What we found was that, yes, students do use their friendship groups to reinforce their learning, to reinforce their understanding around a particular topic. but they also use their friendship groups to develop their professional identity. Doesn't matter what you're studying, be it psychology, be it optometry, be it biology. You want to become a biologist. You want to become a psychologist. You use your friends to reinforce that professional identity. But you weren't aware that you were doing it. You weren't aware that you were using your friends to actually reinforce that particular identity. And this quote here really is another sort of snapshot of data taken from the focus groups that we carried out. And I like it because it really runs home, if you like, the message of this particular project. This individual here, he doesn't even like talking to his friends inside a lecture hall. He doesn't like it. It's only when he goes home, cracks open a bottle of wine and stuff, and he starts to chill out, that he starts to relax, and he starts to talk about his lectures. Now, the friends that we sampled were not members of your tutorial group, okay? They were not members of your class. The friends that we're talking about here were all people outside of university, So students in certain lectures use their friends outside of university to really reinforce their learning and also to reinforce their professional identity. So my second recommendation today, my second recommendation for global success, listen to your friends. Involve your friends in whatever you're doing. In fact, to be honest with you, you're going to do it anyway. You probably just won't know that you're doing it, okay? But they're going to be involved in your success. Now, I did say at the start that I'll be making 3 recommendations. 3 recommendations that will be simple, that will be straightforward, and that can be applied to anything that you choose to do. And indeed, my first 2 recommendations were just that. Involve your family, involve your friends. Well, my third recommendation, my third and final recommendation, is just as simple and straightforward, but it's probably the hardest to achieve. Take ownership and enjoy whatever it is you do. Take ownership. Okay? Now, this is really quite remarkably sort of difficult to achieve because, I think, because of our preparation for study, for our preparation for education. You see, at school, we're told what it is we need to know in a kind of linear fashion. That's good, and that's healthy, because that sets the foundation for future learning to come. When we move up to university, okay, there's a different mindset. You are actually in charge. You need to identify what it is that you need to achieve success in your learning, okay? Now, this mindset, this shift in mindset, can be quite unnerving. For some people, it's really quite distressful, okay? But it's only by grabbing the bull by the horns and really taking ownership and identifying those things that you need for your studying that you can achieve success, and that can set the foundation for subsequent lifelong learning to come. So, I've made 3 recommendations. 3 recommendations today, okay? They're all born out of the various research that I've been doing for the last 10 years or so, okay? I said they'd be simple, they'd be straightforward recommendations, but you can take them, you can apply them to absolutely anything you choose to do. Recommendation 1, involve your family. Listen to what your family is saying. Talk to your friends. And number 3, take ownership and enjoy whatever you do. So the last thing I've got to do now is just to thank you for your attention and to wish you the very best of luck with your future success to come. So thank you.